Hello everyone and welcome back to another F1 24 My Team video. We are back for Season 1, Round 4 here in Suzuka. If you did miss the video that went live a couple days ago from Australia, I would recommend you go back and watch it. We started P21 and worked our way up all the way to P11 on track, so really good race with a lot of passing action. As for this week though, we did throw on a facility upgrade to our chassis and our quality control. Our failure chance is now reduced by 10%. Also, we had an upgrade pass in the aerodynamic side for our front wing adjuster bracket, and we threw on 2 more upgrades that'll be done before China with the floor stiffening stays and the beam wing. So unfortunately though, our car is still last on the grid in terms of performance, and other teams are still bringing upgrades rapidly. So we are going to have to just keep bringing upgrades to facilities and our car as fast as we possibly can if we want any chance of catching up to the rest of the grid. So now let's hop on into practice here and start our weekend in Japan.
Konnichiwa and welcome to a track loved by the drivers and fans alike. A place where so many champions have been crowned. Let's get practice started then here in Japan.
First lap here in practice at Japan. In our fuel management practice program, as we did have to start practice a little bit late because we had a leak in our hydraulic system. Hopefully that doesn't carry over through the rest of the weekend and we can have a fault-free Japanese Grand Prix, as the hard tires don't quite have the grip you would like them to. We're massively up on the delta, but struggling to stay in the green range and saving some fuel here. Oh, as we spin! That is not what we needed, so we're definitely gonna have to do at least one more lap here. Can we just sneak into the purple score here? I'm gonna coast across the line.
And a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can take you through the numbers.
Took us 2 attempts, but that is our first purple score of the weekend, and we are starting Japan off right. Here we are for our race strategy practice program. Our first test of our race pace here, and like usual, we're not going to use any DRS or overtake, so we can get an accurate representation of our data for our race strategy, as I can already feel the massive grip difference the mediums give you compared to the hards. As the hard tires, honestly, at every track are just abysmal. They're just not fun to drive compared to the mediums or the soft compound. There's a reason Fernando Alonso says this is his favorite track. Absolutely just magnificent track to drive. Especially the whole first sector. And obviously 130R is completely flat now in a modern Formula 1 car, so it's not really that crazy to drive anymore, but just this entire track is a driver's dream, honestly. It's so fun. This section right here particularly, just wide open through there, down to 4th gear. Then the S's here, they really all just connect together. You gotta make sure, you don't mess up the first one, otherwise it'll mess up all the rest. So I completely, too much curb there. One thing about F1 24 is the curbs in this game like to suck you around, so you just gotta be really, really careful. As now we're playing catch up the rest of the lap, and we gotta sneak it back into the green. As Degna 1 and Degna 2 are just a blast to drive as well. Into this hairpin here, which is probably the hardest braking zone. No, definitely the final chicane would be the hardest braking zone, as we're now in a race with Valtteri Bottas here in practice. Side by side, about to go into Spoon Curve. I'm going to take the racing line because, of course, it is practice, so I'm going to hope Valtteri is going to back out there. I am going for Delta on my practice program, after all. As I definitely think I'm running less wing than they expected me to, because we're just eking out time in the long straightaway. All flat through 130R, down to the hardest braking zone of the track. We lock it up slightly. We're able to get it stopped, though. Get on the power. And we're going to just miss a green lap there, as we were 5/10 up on our first lap, but battling Valtteri and our big mistake really cost us, as we're side by side. We touch Valtteri in practice. Oh man, Valtteri wants by here, so we're gonna go to his inside. He's gonna try to cut us off. Make sure we leave him the space there. As we're starting the race in here early in Japan. Through Spoon for the final time in our race strategy practice program. Took us all 5 laps for us to get the purple score, but as long as we can keep the rest of this lap clean, we're 1 second up on the delta, and it's climbing as we go down the long back straight through 130R, flat nowadays in a modern Formula 1 car, all the way to the hardest braking zone of the track, down to second gear into the chicane. 1.4 seconds up, 1.3 seconds up on the delta. As we come across the line here.
And that was a really good job indeed. We got a lot of valuable information out of that. Well done.
And that's our second purple score of the race weekend. First lap on the softs here in our qualifying practice program. This is our true test of pace on the race weekend, and we gotta hang it all on the line. Put down a quick lap here. So I go a little bit wide there. We're up on the delta already, which is a comforting sight. So we need to stay committed through the S's here. So much grip on the softs compared to the mediums and the hards. As we're 4/10 up on the delta here. Our practice has gone rather swimmingly this weekend. Hopefully this is how the rest of the weekend goes. If practice is any indicator, we should have a pretty good race weekend here in Suzuka. But there is still a long way to go as I overshot that hairpin by a ton. And that cost us a ton of time. Still, we can make up a lot in Spoon Curve, and we're really, really quick down the straight, it seems, with this setup. As I am trying a little bit lower wing angle than I usually run here at Suzuka. Here we are coming into the final chicane, into the last braking zone, down to second gear. Take as much curb as we can. Get on the throttle as fast as possible, and I don't think we're going to get a purple score here.
Okay then, that's the end of the program and plenty of useful data. Return to base when you can so we can go over it all.
And we didn't. That's a green score, so I'm going to give it one more attempt here for our qualifying practice program. It looks like we're going to have to stick with our green score here, as we're going to try to hang it all on the line in this last chicane, as that's all we can do. And we're picking up 0.3 of a second, but it's not enough. Frederik Vesti only managed to grab us 120 points after last weekend getting us 0 resource points total in practice. 0. So, I mean, he's not performing on track, and he isn't getting us any resource points, really. So, yeah, we're already thinking about replacing Frederik Vesti. I mean, at round 4, it is Formula 1 is a harsh reality. And yeah, let's head on into qualifying.
A warm welcome, everybody, from a venue that has seen plenty of sensational laps over the years. Remember, Verstappen in 23, Vettel in 2019, some phenomenal pole laps. But whose will it be today?
Well, here we are for lap 1 of Q1. Obviously, this is just going to be a banker lap, but I still want it to be something pretty respectable, as our qualifying pace did not look great in practice, so hopefully we can have a better actual qualifying session here. Sweeping flat out through 130R, coming to the final chicane here, braking as hard as we can right at the 100. Didn't quite eat as much curb as I would have liked there. Get on the power as soon as I can without getting some wheel spin. Open the DRS flap. A 130.7. Quicker than my practice qualifying time, but 0.7 off Pierre Gasly. Here's our final attempt at making it into Q2 here, which I really want to do after the poor qualifying performance we had last week. We need about 0.7 of a second if we want any chance of making it into Q2, as we were already 0.4 up on our teammate, but that was the only person in the grid we were faster than, as Frederik Vesti keeps showing why he is just an absolute terrible choice to have in that second car, as he is not a good reference point at all. So we gotta stay fully committed here. No point to leave anything on the line, as We have to go all out if we want any chance of making it into Q2. Brake as late as we can. Get the car stopped for the hairpin. Try to get on the throttle as fast as we can. 5.5 tenths up on the Delta here. We need to have a good chicane. I know I can find a lot of time in the final chicane. Because I lost a lot of time in Spoon Curve, I can already tell. About a 10th loss there. We need a really strong final chicane if we want any chance of making it into Q2. As we were just barely a 10th up on Kevin Magnussen. As I think I braked maybe too late. As I didn't. That was actually a great chicane, a little bit on the edge. And we picked up, but it wasn't enough. P19 at the end of the day. Another poor qualifying performance here in Suzuka. We did beat our teammate by 1 whole second, actually over a second. But I know I left a 10th, at least a 10th off the board in Spoon when I really messed up the exit of Spoon. So I think I could have had something for Albon. Don't know how much higher I could have put it than 15th, 16th. But I didn't fully maximize the car, so I can't hold my head high. We are going to look to turn it around, though, for the race, gain those positions back. We know our race pace is strong, as we showed in Australia and Jeddah. So, yeah, let's look to have a bounce-back weekend here after another poor qualifying effort.
No fewer than 12 world champions have been crowned at Suzuka, but who will be tasting glory today at the checkered flag? We're approaching lights out, and we can't wait for the Japanese Grand Prix. 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Tsunoda, Albon, Ocon, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Zhou, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Russell, Gasly, Magnussen, Thomas, Sargent, Bottas, and Frederick Vesti. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Now, you'll remember back from your racing days, Ant, working with the team and getting to know them is oh so important. And that's what this driver's going through at the moment. And I think one thing we are seeing with this driver at the moment is that they're very much embedded within the team. They know the team knows them, and it's working wonderfully. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
Well, you've got to be prepared, Crofty. Before you even step foot inside the car, you've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
Well, here we are on the grid in Japan. Lando Norris, another pole position here as he's going for his 3rd win in a row if he doesn't bottle the start and he can hold on to the lead. Yeah, absolutely crazy as we may have a different F1 champion here than Max Verstappen, as Lando Norris is going to look to win his first title. Obviously still very, very early in the season, but these are the type of this is the type of start you usually see from a driver champion. As for the strategy, they are recommending we go with the 1-stop over the 2-stop, just like last weekend. The 2-stop being a lot slower this weekend, though. And luckily, there is no rain on the horizon, which we know can be an issue in Suzuka. So let's hop on into the formation lab now.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres. almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
And here we are on the grid in Suzuka, Japan, as it's lights out and away we go. We get a pretty good launch off the line on those medium compound tires as we're just pulling ahead of the Haas here now alongside the Mercedes of George Russell. Gonna send it on his outside, almost run into the back of the rear diffuser there of the Alpine of Pierre Gasly as we are able to make our way around his outside, now up to his inside, and we make the move stick. He's still there slightly, but now we're finally able to finish the move off. And yeah, now everyone is 2 by 2 by 2 ahead of us. Nowhere for us to really go here as they do single file out, and we're able to squeeze to the inside there of the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, who is definitely out of place here in the back outside of the top 10. He would definitely be looking to capitalize off that poor qualifying performance. And it's lights out and away we go as Lando Norris cannot get off the line well at all and bottles another start as this teammate of Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen go by. Max Verstappen leads into turn 1 as Lando Norris goes from first to third. As we're going to dive to the inside here of the Haas and Nico Hülkenberg. Can we get the power down? Can we make it stick? No, Nico Hülkenberg is able to get the drive off the corner with the outside line there. Now it's one more attempt into the hairpin, one lap later, as we were denied last time, but this time we get a little bit closer, launch it a little bit deeper, and we're able to make the move stick. Now we need to set our sights on Daniel Ricciardo. 2 short laps later in the same place we passed Nico Hülkenberg, we're going to dive to the inside of Daniel Ricciardo here. Are we going to be able to pull the move off on the Australian driver? As that was a send from way back, a Daniel Ricciardo-esque send, if you will.
Good work.
As we are able to apply some battery there, as our battery level is pretty low, so we're going to need to focus on the recharge now before we make a move on Zhou Guanyu. This is really starting to become deja vu, as into that same hairpin again, we're going to look to the inside of Zhou Guanyu here. We dive it in extra deep. Oh man, we almost run into the back of the Alpine there of Esteban Ocon, but we are able to regain control of our car, able to make the move stick on Zhou Guanyu, and that is one more position on our quest for some points here in Japan. Just one lap later in that exact same spot again, we dive to the inside here. Esteban Ocon catch a big snap of oversteer. We're able to hold on to the car though, so we're going to grab his slipstream down here into Spoon Curve. Can we make the move stick here on Esteban Ocon? We send it to his inside here. Oh, we make slight contact, go a little wide. Here we are diving into the hairpin, same place we've made so many moves before. We give a slight touch there with Esteban Ocon as we're not quite able to get the power down because of it. Now we're going to look to grab his slipstream on the long run into Spoon Curve, go around his outside, now to his inside, into Spoon. We do get ahead by the apex. We make contact though, and there's a gigantic pileup. We're going to ride alongside Daniel Ricciardo here as a perfect view of everything, as when Esteban Ocon rejoins the track, he slams into Valtteri Bottas there, and that is his Grand Prix over. We're going to take advantage of the safety car that incident between me and Esteban Ocon brought out. We're going to go ahead and throw on a set of the hard tires here and try to make it
Frederick's
to the
coming
end.
in for his stop now.
Obviously, with 19 laps remaining, that is going to be tough. The hard tires do seem to last forever, though. So we are just going to have to hope they can hold on.
Let's go now.
We have a pretty nice stop here. We do get held on the exit there for a little bit, but nothing too major. As we do come out of Sergio, come out ahead of Sergio Perez, but just behind Charles Leclerc. Safety car is in this lap as we get a gigantic snap of oversteer as we're leaving that final corner, and that is just going to kill our run down the long pitch straight here. And yeah, that is going to hurt our chances to stay in the DRS of the guys ahead, which is absolutely critical here in F124. Perez is going to get an absolutely massive run down the straightaway here. Going to look to pass me into 130R here. I am not going to go too defensive. Right now, I'm going to hope the Red Bull driver of Perez can pull me up to the drivers ahead, because I do not think I have the pace to myself. Here we are, 8 short laps later. Not a lot has happened. We're just trying to stay in the back of Perez's DRS here, as Nico Hülkenberg is out of the session here. Definitely not what the Ferrari engine suppliers wanted to see, as one of those Ferrari engines going up in smoke. Here we are on lap 22 of 27, just 5 short laps to go, as Carlos Sainz sends it to our inside. A late lunge by the Spaniard as he is trying to get through here. He wants points, and we make contact again there, and he gets the move done. Carlos Sainz, he is tired of being stuck behind us and tired of not fighting for points, as he needs to get to the front here. Carlos Sainz gets a massive run here, a little bit sneakily, as I didn't quite realize he was on my inside, as he just NASCAR style moves me there, moves me over, and he does get the position as we make contact again, and I'm just able to regain control of the car. With 4 short laps to go here, we are just hanging on to the Red Bull of Perez's DRS. And my goal is just to make a last lap move on him for that final points paying position. So I just need to charge my battery up, stay close to him, and yeah, keep our tires in a good window, and we will try to make a move on the last lap on the Mexican driver. Here we are exiting the chicane for the penultimate time, as we're coming to the white flag here. We are going to look to pass the Mexican driver here on the last lap. Now let's ride along for one more lap at Suzuka. Exit the chicane for the final time, just able to make the move stick on Sergio Perez, and we bring it home P10 here in Japan.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Oscar Piastri, take a bow. What a performance, what a win.
The race victory and fastest lap as well today really shows the level of dominance that this driver had over the opposition. Dominance from the start to finish, and it's for the rest of the competition to try and catch them now.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there you have it from Suzuka, Japan, as Oscar Piastri grabs his maiden victory here in round 4 of his second season, as Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso round out the podium. The other McLaren driver of Lando Norris all the way down in 4th position after starting on the pole. That is definitely not what he would have wanted to see, as Max Verstappen now has a 4-point lead over the British driver of Lando Norris. Obviously would have been smaller, maybe even Lando having the lead had he not bottled another pole position here, as we add one more point to our tally, and McLaren leads the Constructors' Championship here. Obviously still very, very early, a lot of races to go, but you do have to think McLaren, with that 2-driver pairing of Piastri and Norris, will have the edge over Red Bull with the struggling Perez, as we are now up to 13th points for Ford, which is massive. Hopefully our teammate will be able to start contributing as the season goes on and we bring more upgrades. So thank you to everyone who watched the video. Please like and subscribe, and you guys have a great day.